Welcome back to episode 3 of Teamfight Talkshow. I guess welcome back after the first 2 episodes. Welcome for the first time if you missed those. And boy, do we have an exciting show for you tonight. And you can tell because Frodan now has a green screen, and I don't know what he's going to put on that over the course of the show, but I'm pretty nervous.
That would require me to understand how to use green screens and OBS. I have long since retired as a streamer, way before my time. Did Elgato and all this new meta stuff. I need to adapt and catch up. I'm really behind.
So you rely on your producers to handle the green screen for you.
Yes, I'm sure you could relate deeply, Travis.
All right. Well, we'll see if our producer gets bored enough during the course of the show to start replacing it for you. We're joined this week by Kurumx. I hope I got that correct. We did the test right beforehand and see if I could pronounce it exactly correct. Did I?
Yeah, Kurumx. Yeah, you got it.
Did it? It's difficult sometimes. How are you doing this evening?
I'm good. I'm chilling. I'm feeling pretty good.
And we were just talking about where you're located, but where in the States are you located for those that don't know?
I'm in Florida. I am in Orlando, Florida. That is
it's already pretty dark there so far. Or for
what do you mean, pretty dark?
Pretty dark, yeah. We're all over here. Frodan and I are over here on the West Coast where it's super bright and nice.
The sun is still up, essentially.
Yes. It's fucking late out here.
Yes. Well, how you been, Frodan?
I've been good. I've actually just been busier than ever. My Twitch Esports and Twitch Rivals work has kind of like quadrupled lately. So it's been kind of insane. We did things like the Stream Aid, and then we're like preparing for some other big events, and then we just did like a Valorant release thing too, because apparently Valorant's a big deal. I'm sure Travis, you would understand.
Yeah, I've been doing pretty well on the streaming side for Valorant. I think it came out.
I know
it's only been out for about a week, right? So it's really popped off in the time since we last did Teamfight Talkshow. Kurumx, have you had a chance to play it yet?
What, Valorant?
Yeah.
I didn't ask for like a key from my org. I just kind of just wake up and play TFT, bro.
Well, fair enough. Well, I mean, we shouldn't talk about Valorant then.
No, but like, I would play Valorant. It looks cool, and I watch some people play, but like, I can't click anyone's head. Like, it's actually so hard for me. I don't know. I don't have the mechanics.
What?
Like, I had the
Weren't
mechanics.
You a challenger player at League of Legends?
Yeah. I was challenger in League, but like every time I play any kind of like shooter at all, I just fucking can't click anyone's head.
Okay.
I mean, I'm awful too, so I can relate. I definitely get carried by everybody. Well, hey, for those that don't know you, how did you end up becoming a streamer? Maybe we can start with a little bit of introductions for folks that are watching you for the first time.
In the first like 4 months of streaming, I was still going to school at the same time. I mean, I wanted to try streaming like in my spare time. I was like grinding TFT since it came out, like having a lot of fun, and it was like midway through Sep 1 or something when I started streaming. Maybe like not midway, but like pretty early in Sep 1 probably. And then I basically just wanted to be like, okay, I'm just gonna vocalize instead of like all the things I'm thinking in my head. I'm just gonna say them out loud instead. That's like how I wanted to start streaming, just like educational, I guess. Like just vocalize my thought process basically. And then like people started watching me because I was like rank 1, and then like Scar kind of just like 1v9 for me, like just like carried me super hard. He just hosted me like fucking like I don't know, like 5 to 10 times, like when I was like first starting out. So a lot of people like stuck around from Skara, and I just kind of like, got lucky, I guess. Right place, right time.
You just brute forced your success in the streaming scene. I'm sure with obviously your own work as well, but I love that story.
Also, when you say brute force, like I literally just stream every single day.
Yeah. I mean that's what you got to do sometimes. I mean, just to get the traction going, the repeat visitors. So you said it's since about Set 1, so it's been about a year for you?
8 months. Yeah, 8 months now.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Well, how are you finding it?
I'm still finding it really fun. I haven't missed like 2 days in a row since I started streaming. I haven't really taken like a vacation yet, but like maybe soon. But
I mean, there's not many vacations you can take right now. I don't know if you've heard.
That's true. You can't really go outside yet. But like maybe once you can go outside again, maybe I'll take a few days off. We'll see. Yeah.
Well, Frodan, do you have any questions? I don't want to hog our interview time.
I mean, I think you have a really fun chat. I think you and Grand
Fun.
Price are the streams I watch the most.
Uh-huh.
What's it like having a chat that loves trolling you, but also having fun and making jokes?
I mean,
and
they
stuff
have
like that?
fun, like, but they say like so much stupid shit. But like, I don't know. There's always like something to do. Like, usually I'm trying to focus on the game, but then like during the downtime, I can just like I never feel bored. That's for sure. When I'm streaming, I never feel bored. I always have something to do, something to
Oh,
catch
yeah.
up on, some like stupid ass song to play, and then I usually have to like end up not playing it because it's like way too stupid to listen to the entire time. Like I don't know, like last night was like Carl Weezer trying to sing Redbone to me. Like I didn't want to hear that. So yeah,
God.
there's always
Remind-
something to do.
Your stream kind of reminds me of the early days of Force and stream from the Hearthstone days.
Really?
Yeah. You
Yeah.
very, very similar vibes. I'm sure the chat would agree as well.
Yeah, I'm already seeing them. Maybe we can grab maybe some mods. Either way, let's talk about your streaming situation in relation to some other folks. I'm kind of curious. Are there any TFT streamers that you actually like to watch in your free
I
time?
watch
Or
so many fucking streams.
who all do you
like,
watch?
Holy shit. I watch Aegon. I was watching NA while we were like setting up. Like I was watching NA.
Dude, Aegon's
Much-
getting bodied. You see his games.
Yeah, I went to Aegon stream. It was like 6, 6, 7, 8. I was like, what the fuck happened here, bro? Holy shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I watch Aegon. I watch NA. I watch Soju whenever he's on. I watch Milk whenever he's on. But he never streams. He's a lazy fuck. I watch like a lot of people. I don't know. I watch Crowan. Like I watch so many people. It's like if I'm not streaming the game and I'm not playing the game, like I'm probably in bed like watching the game. So
Damn, you love it that
Yeah.
much?
yeah, I don't know. I really like TFT. I really want to get better. So
Have there been times where you've been frustrated with the game? Because I know, especially like
there are
late in
times
the
where
cycle of
every
sets.
single fucking player that has played this game is frustrated with this game. Like holy fuck. Sometimes this game like it
Well, I just
feels
mean like within blocks of time, right? Like at the end of some sets, some people I feel like get burned out, but then feel like they have to keep streaming it anyway.
sometimes like at the end of a patch or something, I'll be like, oh my god, like just get me out of this fucking shit. Like please just get me in the next patch or something. Like the end of set one felt like super RNG, but then like I don't know, like every time a patch feels like really RNG, I feel like there's always like some players that still like are super consistent no matter what. So it's like it's like at the end of set one, it felt like a fucking casino to me, and it's like there's not that many playable units, but then you see Salvi getting like rank 1 and 2 in the US, like finishing rank 1 and 2, and it's like, all right, well clearly there's a way to be consistent. Like he's not just high rolling every game, you know what I mean?
Right.
So I mean, even
What do you
when
think your strengths are as a player, primarily compared to some of the other streamers or other players?
my strengths as a player. Well, I play the game a lot, and I'm really open. Like, I never like lie to. Okay, dude, I need to close the chat because
Stop reading the chat. I know you're reading the chat.
I need to close the chat. Okay, so strengths of the player is I'm really honest with myself. Like I'm not gonna be like I'm never gonna be like, oh, like there's like literally nothing I could have done. Like I did everything right. Like I just fucking low rolled and got it. Because I feel like usually in the game like this, well, in TFT specifically, I guess like there's almost always like a decision you could have made that like maybe could like squeezed out like a higher placement or something like that. I mean, there are like obviously exceptions. Like last night, I think I had a game where I played Mech Infil and I had Annie 3, Kaisa 3, Shaco 3, and I didn't find Fizz and 1/8. And I don't even know how that's possible. But yeah, like there's obviously like exceptions, but like for the most part, like there's enough skill expression in this game that like your decisions like actually matter a lot. Like in terms of like placing higher. Obviously, like placing first requires you to high roll if you're in the elo that you actually belong to. But like as far as like placing top 4 consistently, or just like even like placing like turning a really low roll game into like a 6th place instead of an 8th place, like there's a lot that you can do.
Dude, that's the best feeling. I love the feelings where it's like you feel super doomed for 8th place because like nothing's going right, and then you somehow pull like a 5th. That feels so good somehow.
Yeah, it feels really really good.
Yeah.
Because like I mean the 8th to the 5th is like more LP than a win.
Oh yeah, big time.
Yeah.
How did you? For those that don't know, how did you end up with TL?
Well, I was looking for an org because, like, I don't know. I wanted to find an org, but I didn't want to just like settle for like any org. I wanted to find an org that like like was like professional and like relate to and stuff. And I've always been like a fan of TL since I was younger because I started playing League and like season 3 was my first season, and then like Double Lift was like one of my favorite players. I remember like watching your interviews, your really old interviews with Double Lift when you guys were like first starting out and like the scene wasn't really like established yet. I remember I remember that interview. You know, the one that, like pops in my mind always is like the interview with you and Officer Caitlin.
I don't recall that interview. I don't know.
You don't recall that, really? That's weird that you don't recall that because
that's strange.
No, that's fucking weird. Yeah. But yeah, that one was fucking hilarious. Holy shit.
How did? Oh, sorry. Continue. So you were trying to find
go for it. Org. I don't know what I was about to say.
You were talking about TL. You said you remember TL, and you've been, ever since you followed.
Yeah. So basically, actually, it was Soju. Like Soju kind of hooked it up. He like knew someone on TL, and then like he knew Katie, which is like the card manager for TL. And then Katie like reached out to me in Twitter DMs, and we just like had a talk, and then boom, I'm on TL.
Damn, that easy, huh?
Yeah, that's how it went.
Why did you want to join an org? Because actually, I feel like a lot of streamers and even some competitors, like especially for a game like TFT, feel as though they don't really need an org. And certainly, we've seen more enter TFT recently, but I feel like usually I hear it's the orgs that are reaching out to the streamers or the players, not kind of the other way around.
Yeah, I wanted an org. The main reason I honestly wanted an org was because I knew Riot had already like announced like that they were gonna bring out a competitive scene for TFT, and I just wanted to like have the best chance I could of going pro, and I knew like being on like an established org would probably give me the best chance of that happening. So that was like the main reason I wanted to be on an org.
Gotcha.
Oh, well, that's a good transition and segue, Travis, to our news.
Yes, it's very true. Very true. I think our next topic is the patch notes review, and I'm excited because we do have a little bit of news to talk about. I don't know. I guess maybe we'll do it after the patch notes, but about the esports announcements. I think that was your plan, right, Frodan?
Yeah, I mean, since he brought up competitive, and competitive is a really big topic of discussion, especially for people like Kurumx. So I'm sure we could maybe talk about that pretty soon. But I guess we can talk about 10.8 first as well.
Yeah, let's. I mean, I think everybody's chomping at the bit to hear his opinion. And I know right before we were talking,
hello, is it muted?
Yo, did Travis's audio cut out for anybody? Oh no.
Hello.
Hey, Travis.
I'm back. Sorry. So we were talking a little bit before the start of the show, and you were saying you feel like mechs are going to be still dominant.
Oh yeah, I think mech is still really good, but I think it can still only support one player, and I can probably only support one player more now than before. So I mean, if someone says me mech and you say they have like a bramble start, like, and you don't want to lose LP, you should probably like fuck off and don't play the comp. But like, if you don't like them personally, I guess you can just grief their units. But like, you probably shouldn't do that. Like, you're trying to gain LP. But yeah, I think uncontested mech is still like one of the best comps, if not the best comp in the game. So yeah, we'll probably still see a lot of mech.
Well, I'm glad we got that initial reaction. Any other initial reactions before we go straight into the buffs and nerfs as we're seeing on screen?
Vel'Koz is a lot smarter. Uncontested Vel'Koz comp that can reliably 3-star either Cho or Vel'Koz is probably going to be really strong. Star Guardians is really strong, but you're probably going to see a lot more people contesting it because like it's not really that hard to get into Star Guardians. You kind of just need like one Xerath, which is pretty easy to get. But yeah, that comp got like fat buffs and it was like already fucking strong. So like, yeah, that's like it.
Brennan, you want to take us through buffs and nerfs? Anything that you're seeing on the list or the image that really stands out to you?
There's some pretty significant buffs to certain things. Like Chalice of Favor, for example, I think is actually a huge buff. The fact that whoever is holding it also gets mana. So we've been seeing like Sona mana batteries actually like be experimented with, and it just looks crazy. I'm not sure if it's actually good because I'm still on the fence of whether or not the Yasuo Mastery Super Slash Bros, Bang Bros, whatever you want to call it, I'm not sure if that comp's actually good. It just seems kind of fun to play.
I'm pretty sure that comp is trash, but like,
right? Like I think it's bad.
like
but I
I'm
don't
pretty
want to
sure the comp is trash. My chat literally asked me to play it. Like I think like 150 times a night. I haven't played it yet, so like I can't really talk from experience. But like I'm pretty sure the comp is trash.
Yeah, it doesn't seem particularly very good, but I do think that Chow's favor buff is pretty significant. I think also one of the biggest changes outside of course, Xerath entering the pool is the universes, the new galaxies that we have coming out. Reroll, you get a free reroll. It's called, I believe, the Trade Galaxy.
Trade Center? No,
Trade Center, something like that.
Yeah, I can look it up.
And then the one where you get Force of Nature is also ridiculous. Seems like it's such an aggressive lobby. So I think those are probably the biggest gameplay changing.
Trade Sector.
Trade Sector. That's right.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, and they actually have made it now so that there's, I mean, we're seeing it on screen right now, there's a 50% chance of getting the special galaxy, with Trade Sector and Super Dense Galaxies, the new ones, being more likely to pop up than the others. So, I don't know. I mean, how are you feeling now that we're, about a month into this set, Kurum, on the special galaxies? And is this something that's interesting to you? Do you like it?
I'm trying really hard to like it. I think it
doesn't sound
really
like you
helps
like
a
it.
lot. I think it helps a lot with like keeping the game fresh and like keeping it like fun and like feel like new even without like new sets. I honestly kind of like the Nicoverse, like because like it can be played like in a way. It can be played like kind of flexibly, you know. Like on Lilac, you kind of feel like you want to like base your comp, like pick your comp like based on like your opener, right? Because like if you get like Vel'Koz with Rod, like that's a lot of direction. Like you find Fizz with Glove, like that's a lot of direction. Like you find Aurelia with Sword, and it's like, why the fuck would I play anything but Cybernetics? But the thing I don't like about Galaxies, the three Galaxies in particular, Nicoverse, Lilac, and
Medium Legends.
Medium Legends is like,
Oh,
yeah, it's like, I mean, Medium Legends obviously like slows down the game. And it makes like almost always like the top two in a Medium Legend Galaxy will be reroll comps because those comps just naturally have like a higher cap. And then it's like Nicoverse, like I feel like a lot of the Galaxies they kind of just like, what's the word? They like reward high rollers and like punish low rollers harder, which like I think is like the opposite of what you want to do with a game like this. You want to like kind of like, you know, if you're low rolling, you want to like have a chance to come back. So like the special carousels kind of do the same exact thing, where it's like, you know, oh, it's like I'm 35 HP here, but you know, if I get my item, I'm gonna spike really hard, and maybe come back, and it's fucking all Zeeks. Like I don't know, like it feels,
I know what you mean.
It feels pretty bad. Like that's just like rewarding high rollers, like because or not high rollers, but it's like rewarding the people that are like high HP. And it's like because like they're getting the same fucking item that you're getting at last pick, and they have 50 more HP than you. And
right. It also makes the carousel decision making feel non-existent. You just kind of
pick
because it is on. I mean, I guess you can pick the unit, right? But like,
yeah, you just pick gold. I don't know. Like
it is supposed to be like an introduction of an element that people aren't expecting, especially when it's like an all Zephyr carousel or something like that. That's just super trippy to me. But I totally understand what you're saying, though.
But yeah,
I think it does become really frustrating because it's one of those things where it feels like it takes so much agency away from the player, right? Like that's one of those things where it kind of feels like it's bad RNG because you don't really get to try to work around it so much, especially because it's so late in the game.
Yeah, with the Galaxies, I like the Nicoverse like the most, I think, because I haven't played the new Galaxies yet. I played the reroll one once. It was a fucking shit show. I didn't know what the fuck was going on. Like 3 people had Lucian 2 at 2-1, and
yeah, dude, it's crazy.
I went to 8 on 4-1 with 0 gold left because my rerolls are free anyway. Fuck it. Like I don't know. It was crazy. But
I think it's fun.
Out of the 3 that I've played a lot, like Medium Legends, I'll say that like Lost streaking feels a lot better, but you kind of feel cornered into like playing some kind of reroll comp, which doesn't really make sense because there's like 3 or 4 that are viable. Like 4, I guess, if you count Bang Bros, but like three main ones that are like viable, and they only support like one person. So like, if you don't get like a good opener for it, you're just gonna be like playing from behind the whole time. And then if you go like Cybernetics or Chrono Kale, you're just gonna get outscaled because people have so much more time to get online with their reroll comps. So you're just gonna get outscaled like really hard and probably take like a 4th or a 5th. like going cybernetics on Medium Legends Galaxy feels so fucking bad. Like it feels fucking terrible. But a lot of times, like if you're going fast 8, like you kind of just like get cornered into playing it.
Do you?
What? So
I was just going to ask really quickly before because kind of orienting back to the patch notes. Given now that there's like a 50% chance of getting the special galaxy, do you feel like that's too much, or is that an okay amount? Like,
that's
half your games are going to have these weird galaxies, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you saw like the tourney the other day, but all 4 games, we're on a fucking galaxy, and like I think galaxies can be fun, but like goddamn, like I don't know, like do they? I like how they keep like the set fresh, but at the same time, it's like a lot of them just like punish. Like Lilac Galaxy punishes low roll so hard. People's boards are like much stronger than average, and like if you don't have a good opener, like you're just gonna be so low before you even get a chance to play the game. But
would you like to see a lower percentage chance of getting them then?
Yeah, I would like to see like maybe like 20% chance at getting any like a galaxy in general, and then like most of your games on normal, maybe like 25. I don't know, like 1 in 4. But yeah, I think 50% is really really high. But you know, I haven't played the Fawn Galaxy yet, and I haven't played the Trade Galaxy very much, but they seem pretty fun. Like the Reroll Galaxy, that it was really fun. Like I'm not gonna lie, like it was really fun getting able to press D the whole like.
Yeah.
You know what would be really unfun on the Reroll Galaxy though? Like holy shit, they need to normalize the fucking starts, because if you get a 0 gold start on the Reroll Galaxy, it is fucked. Like it has got to be fucked. Like I only played 1 game and I got a gold start, so like I could actually buy some units. Even then, I still felt fucking broke because like there's so you have so many hits. But if you get a 0 gold star on a Reroll Galaxy, just fucking next it. Like holy shit, it's fucked.
There are some pretty wild swings on Galaxies. You know, like for example, the other day I saw for the first time, and I think probably might be the only time, it was like a completed item Lilac Galaxy to start things off, and it was just like the nuttiest thing because there's like a GA already on a KO, and it was like, what is happening?
Yeah,
and that person like end the game with like 80 HP or something.
Yeah, that'll happen. Like if they get like a fucking Rageblade KO opener, it's like, well, this guy's just gonna win streak for a long time. Like he didn't do anything; he just ran into a KO at Carousel. I don't know.
I do appreciate what it's trying to bring to the table, because I do think that part of what makes TFT sometimes a frustrating experience for certain players is that it becomes relatively the same, right? It's kind of like, okay, well, I know these are like the 2-3 comps I want to play. This one's clearly like the best, but maybe I can like play the second best comp and get a top 2. And then it's just kind of like rinse and repeat. And Galaxy is kind of just basically flip balance on its head. Like you said, Medium Legends, reroll compositions are much stronger than just like the normal good 2-star comps. So I think that's like cool to approach it, because then you have to have like a even deeper knowledge of the game to be able to like understand tier lists for different galaxies. But I do think that sometimes it does feel like too much chaos, and then like you just feel like you don't know what to do, and just feels like all the decision making that you were trying so hard to culminate into this like top 4 ends up just kind of blowing up sometimes.
Like if you ask me if the Galaxy mechanic, like if I could make it never exist, like they basically just like didn't announce it right and it just never existed, like I would say no. Like I would still want the Galaxy mechanic to exist, because like I really like appreciate like what they're trying to do, which is like try to keep the game fresh and like bring out these new galaxies like that, like put a spin on like some games. Like but I mean, yeah, like 50% of my games is like a lot, you know, because normal games are really
fun.
How much
you play? Yeah,
it's not like I get a normal game and I'm like, oh fuck, it's just a normal game. Like,
well, especially seeing
it's like I get a normal game, it's still like hella fun to play a normal game. Like sometimes it's like more fun because if I get a fucking Sword of Elcause on Lilac Galaxy, I feel fucking bad. I feel
especially
fucking bad.
seeing it so much in a tournament where you're seeing it in 4 games in a row is crazy. Let's talk about the economy though, or the economy changes. So they've made changes now to quote, make it more difficult to purposely lose streak or lost streak an open fort because there's a risk of being eliminated. So we've got those changes up on the screen right now for anybody watching. Sorry, podcast listeners, it's maybe a little hard to reread all this stuff out to you. But what do you guys think of the changes we're seeing to economy?
It's huge. I think player damage changing, so that way it's a lot. You can be more aggressive. is really impactful, and it's kind of like especially pronounced on more aggressive galaxies like the Force of Nature, the super dense galaxy where everyone's guaranteed a fawn at 5. That is, it feels like people die like before Raptors again. It's pretty interesting. That's very reminiscent of set 2 with Rise of the Elements, where like 1, maybe 2 or 3 players might not even see all of their item components before the end of the game. So the base damage raised there, I think, is good ultimately because there needs to be more risk and reward. It was like too convenient to like lose streak, and it almost kind of made decision very binary. It's like, okay, if I lose the first one, I was just going to sell out and like try to eco up and just lose every round. But if you win, you're always trying to like all in on the board, so to speak, while trying to hit interest gold as best as you can, and then keep win streaking. So, and then everyone else that gets caught in limbo, right? Win, lose, is really behind. So I think this is much better normalization of that, and also opens up more viable strategies, I think, especially on the multitude of galaxies that we have.
Well, I'm just happy that late game it won't just feel like you get pummeled so much. I don't know. It'll be interesting to sort of see. Kurum, how about you?
I actually really like the change. I really like how like taking like when you're like slightly weaker than someone, you barely take any damage, which is like it feels like more rewarding. You know, like it's like, oh, I'm not like super strong here, but like I'm not actually that weak. Before it was like, okay, well, this guy won by like literally 17 HP, and I just took 15 fucking damage. So it's like, but now it's like, you know, even especially on the early stages, you actually take like barely any damage. Like you actually take what you take if you lose by 1 unit, you take 2 damage, right? So like as long as you're trying to like play like a decent board, you know, and like maybe like slamming items and shit to like preserve HP, like it actually matters now. Obviously the flip end of that is like you fucking found no slammable items, you have a 0 gold star, and you have no upgraded units. Well, you are fucked. Like I mean, like if people level 4 early, like you are gonna get run over, you're gonna take so much damage for Krugs, like there's nothing you can do. That's gonna feel really bad. But yeah, I do like how like I do think like not taking such a bad loss should matter. And like last patch it didn't matter at all. But this patch actually does matter. Like it did matter a little bit. Like you still ideally wanted to kill some units, right? Like last patch, but like now, like you really want to kill some units. Like each unit kill, you really feel it.
It
you
matters.
really, yeah. Like when you kill a unit, you're like, fuck yeah, I killed a unit. Like that could be like an extra life later on, you know?
Yeah, I think that one really like underrated skill of TFT that people neglect when they're like learning how to get better is evaluating the relative strength of your board to everybody else. Because people can usually identify if they're the strongest board or the weakest board in the lobby, but trying to evaluate like where you sit on the totem pole and how many you would lose and how can you like incrementally improve so you just lose by a little bit or win by a little bit more is like a very, very, very hard skill. I think that actually might be the hardest thing in the game.
It's so hard. Like if you're actually trying to take like perfect losses and not try like because if you win, you grief your eco. Like that's actually really hard.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to turn this entire show into a patch rundown because we do have a lot of other things to talk about, including Giant Slayer series and some of the esports announcements. But what else on this patch really stands out to you, Frodan, if you want to bring anything up?
Wow, there's so much to talk about the patch. I could talk about TFT for like hours and hours and hours.
I know, but
I want to say that I really like. I know you have limited time, Travis.
We all have limited time.
It's true. Kurum has to start streaming at 2 a.m. So yeah.
True.
I do like the chase traits. I think that's a cool novel aspect of TFT. Largely because it's just going to be one of those games that happens so infrequently, but when you land like 9 dark stars somehow, it's going to feel really epic. So I like chase traits existing into the game because, you know, this actually happened a lot in set 2 where you would have like 6 wardens, and for the longest time you're like, why the heck do I have this much? And it just feels like fun, and it really helps certain types of players that love winning very extravagantly. If they just somehow high roll that, and then alternatively they could do something like 9 Blade Masters and then just lose because that doesn't sound particularly very good. But, I mean, there's a lot of interesting things about that. So in terms of the concept of it, I like that.
Yeah, I think it's just like one of those things that like should be there as something to go for, like as a viable option. But like most of the time, doesn't matter. Like because like it's just unrealistic. Like, are you gonna get 3 Rebel spats? Are you gonna get 2 Darkstar spats? Like, no. Like, I mean, even like making a Darkstar spat, like using up one of your gloves and a spat to make a Darkstar spat usually feels pretty bad. So like, yeah, it's just like one of those things. Like usually it's not gonna matter, but like in case it does matter, it's there. Like I don't know. I think it's a good.
Well, it kind of reminds me of that old like Hearthstone saying, for I'm sure you'll remember, like the telling good stories or having good stories that can come out of a game, and that's the kind of like that moment where you go and you're talking to your friends that play TFT the next day, and you're like, oh my god, I got whatever 9 trait bonus last night, and it was this awesome thing. I just like swept everybody with it, or failed utterly. I don't either way. Like it gives you kind of a cool story, or for streamers, right? Like this fun clip to go on Reddit or wherever.
Yeah, I guess you could use it for like clickbait YouTube titles.
Yes. Yes.
True. It does give content creators something to go for.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I guess is there anything else in terms of
we saw some champion changes, buffs, and nerfs. I mean, Chrome, is there anything else that really stands out to you in these notes? Like anything that you saw or read that you were like, I'm so excited about that, or I hate that? Yeah, if not, it's all good. We can move on to our next topic.
I don't know. Valkos got smarter. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
because that unit was dumb as fuck.
He got his degree. He graduated.
That unit was really stupid. Like, so I feel hopefully that shit actually matters.
The Squid Scholarship.
Yeah, the Squid Scholarship. I think the item changes are really interesting. I don't know how much like rapid fire cannon range increase matters because it felt like you pretty much always hit everything you needed to. But we talked about Chalice. Shroud of Stillness, I want to say, is like way better than I thought just by getting 0.5 hexes.
It's a really big buff.
It's a huge buff. I wasn't really accounting for the fact that it's on both sides. So it's essentially hitting.
I think it's still one of those items though that like feels bad to make it yourself, but it feels really good to take off full item carousel.
Yeah, exactly. Now it feels like a great option.
Yeah.
So that had a much bigger
Chain and Glove are so good right now. Like those items are fucking OP. They make so many good items.
I feel like gloves are just good with almost every component except for maybe the spatula, but even then Dark Stars are so good right now, so maybe
IE, Last Despair, TG, and Trap Claw are all really fucking good right now.
Exactly. And you can still make Quicksilver. And yeah, it's just so versatile. Gloves has to be one of my highest priority picks now.
Well, let's move on to just the patch day 0 first impressions. So we talked about this a little bit right before we got into the patch notes, but what do you guys really see as just dominating the scene right now? Or what do you think, if we had to make predictions, are going to be stomping everybody?
In terms of like, are we basically creating the tier list at this point together?
I mean, we can create the tier list if you want. I do see it's coming up on the list. I wanted to see if there were any other first impressions in terms of, next up on our agenda on the side of the screen here, we've got impressions. So just trying to see if there's anything else that you guys want to drop knowledge bombs for people that are trying to figure out what they want to be playing as they're going to their games today.
I think Star Guardian, Sorgs, Mech, and Dark Stars will probably be the strongest. And I don't know, I think Dark Star feels really good when I have like Jhin kitted out with like Last Whisper and then a defensive item like Trap Claw or GA, and then I have like I don't know, like maybe like IE as the last item. Last time doesn't really matter.
You're gonna make Sox so mad in chat. He was like,
well, Sox just really likes Trap Claw instead of GA.
Yeah, he
but it's like if you can get double GA, like I still think it's really good. Like because like GA wants to be on Shaco, but I mean if you high roll double GA, then like double GA still feels really good. The problem is you need that sword. You also need swords for healing item on Shaco because like healing item is like you need GA healing item on Shaco. The last item is kind of flex, and then like Jhin is like, it's like if you actually want him to be like a secondary carry, I feel like he pretty much needs like something like Runon's, IE, Last Whisper, and then he needs like one defensive item. So like 2 of those 3 items with one defensive item, like GA or Trap Claw. And it's like if you can get that set up, Darkstar feels really good. Darkstar feels really bad, on the other hand, when there's like 3 people trying to build Dark Stars, and you're like contested as fuck, you can't find your Jhin 2, you can't even find Shaco 2 because there's like other mech players in the game as well that also want Shaco, and then your items are like scuffed. You hit like rods and tears, and you have like Lux 1, and you're like, what the fuck do I do with this garbage? Like that's when Darkstar feels pretty bad. So I don't know.
What do you think about Xerath, the new champion? That should help smooth out a little bit of that variance if you're like having trouble hitting 6 Darkstar. If multiple,
I mean, it gives
people
you
are
Sork synergy for free, which is cool. You just drop Jarvan. Yeah, Lux, and Xerath are your Sorks.
right?
And I mean, 20% AP on everyone is like, it's not nothing. Like, it's actually like, it's just a needlessly large rod on literally everyone. You know? So, like,
It's true.
it's actually pretty nice.
Yeah.
Now that they made like every single ability in the game affected by AP,
Right.
getting Sork buff for free
That's not
free
wasted.
is pretty nice.
Yeah.
As far as Xerath as a unit, as a viable carry, I'm pretty sure it's gonna be bad to do that, to like actually play for Xerath. Like, I don't know. I don't think he's gonna be like consistent enough to actually like 1v9 a late game team fight. Like compared to like Jhin or Shaco. I think you just put him in for like synergies.
Yeah.
I don't think you really build around them.
Frodan,
Obviously, like it's fucking day one of the patch though, so it's like, you know.
Sorry, what was that?
I was gonna say, well, perfect. Exactly what you said. Day one of patch notes. How could you ever make any predictions? Frodan, do you want to dive into the tier list? Should we do one?
I guess so. The first section was supposed to kind of be like news as well, so we kind of talk about some of the news and stuff before we go into it. Because I also want to talk about Kurumx tournament yesterday.
Well, then why don't we end with the tier list? I think that's like a fun way to end the show on. So we'll do that then. I just wanted to make sure that we didn't, awkwardly circle back. So the first thing is we now have our first global esports events announced. And it's official now. We now have a Teamfight Tactics Galaxies Championship, and they now have a qualification process for folks to come in from all over the world. So it's kind of cool. I mean, for a long time, I think everybody had been hearing rumors of how this was going to work and what it was going to mean. And so now that we've seen it, Kurum, what do you think of sort of the unveil of the Teamfight Tactics Esports?
Well, I'm really happy that they actually announced something. That's a really good start. It's something existing is
a great
really
thing to have. Is some sort of acknowledgement. Yeah.
The existence of something is really good. $200,000 for the first competitive set of TFT, like that's a lot. I like that. That's a really good thing. It's like top 16. You qualify for top 16 based on ladder. So like ladder actually matters, right? Which is really cool. Like your placement on ladder actually matters. Like each week, like there's actually motivation to go for top 10. It should make the ladder more competitive, which is a really, really good thing. And then there's like circuit points as well that you can earn from like tournaments. Hopefully those tournaments also have like a smaller prize pool of their own. I think usually that's like how like most games do it. Like I know that's how World of Warcraft does it. I don't know how Hearthstone does it, but
I mean, usually I'd be surprised if it's like playing these tournaments that don't have any prizes with them.
Points, like,
even if it's a much smaller prize pool, I'm sure they'll have something.
Yeah, and that should make it more competitive too, because it gives like the players at the top of the ladder a reason to play in those tournaments as well.
Right.
Yeah.
So it should make those tournaments more competitive, which is cool. Things I don't like. Well, there's 2 players from North America that go into Worlds. 2 is a really, really low number. I mean, you have to make it to the top 16, and then like I don't know, placing 2 out of 16. Like, I guess it depends on like the structure of the tournament, but like, if it's like 8 games or something, that's not very much. Like, as far as like a sample size goes for like who determine who the like actual truly 2 best players in North America are. But I mean, in a game like TFT, it's like, like one day you could just like fucking low roll like really hard, and like that can happen. But like at the same time, it's like the best players, I think, like will be able to consistently perform well in tournaments for the most part, because there's still like enough skill expression. And like honestly, like I think like being clutch in like a clutch situation, like there's like a lot to say for that.
I can't wait until it comes down to who's going to make it, and you just get a carousel where everyone gets
exactly.
And it's a determining moment that decides who goes to Galaxies.
I wish it was more than 2 players, because like then like if it was like 6 players or 8 players, like that would be like easier to figure out like who are truly the best like 6 to 8 players from North America. Like who are the truly the best 2 players? Like that's that's really hard. Like that's really really low.
So would you expand this to be more than 16 for this championship?
More than 16 players? Yeah, definitely. Definitely I would. Yeah, for sure.
Like what, 32? You do
32 or 64, yeah, for sure. For
yeah,
sure.
I think Riot would also prefer that as well. But one, I think it's a very tough time to organize anything right now, given the current global situation. So I think,
like I said, I'm just happy something exists. So.
Yeah, something exists. And I also like the approach of starting small. I know that another point of contention was like prize pool, because it's like 200K it does sound like a lot, but it's also thinking about like how many people will be competing for a portion, and the EV actually doesn't really math out very well.
Yeah, like I said, 200K for the first competitive set, like, I'm happy with that. But like, as far as like a prize, like, is it a lot of money? Like, I mean, it kind of sounds like a lot, but like, once it's like distributed between like each region, I'm guessing it's like 200K overall for like the entire thing. Like they're investing $200,000 towards like circuit tournaments, like everything involved. So like, like all regions, things like that.
I think it's 200,000 for the whole championship. So for the 16, it'll be distributed some way across these 16 competitors. Is the way that I read it, because it does say the championship will showcase the highest level of play and feature competitors from all over the world battling for their part of the $200,000 prize. So that's I think it specifically ties the championship.
Yeah,
yeah, so first step.
Yeah. Like for the first set, like for the first competitive set, like I'm pretty happy with $200,000.
I think it's fine. Yeah.
And do we think that they'll be doing one of these for each set? Is that the idea? So we get multiple a year.
For sure. So like 3 a year.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think like in a game like TFT, which is each set basically is a new game that you have to learn. I think it's totally fine to have 3 like kind of global championships in a year to just really help, keep the game really fresh competitively, and also just to really signify a turning of a page or a new chapter. So I think that's good. I am a little sad for the Oceania people. I do understand that like it looks like they just got completely left off the map.
Does anyone know why?
I think I talked to a Riot person, and I think the answer was that they are planning to incorporate them into another region. They just didn't get confirmation if that was the case. So they're not going to be completely neglected. They are eligible to compete, I believe.
I do appreciate they say they're not going to be completely neglected, only a little neglected. Yeah. Only partially neglected.
How can you leave out the Bang Pros, right?
Yikes.
People.
Yeah, I don't know why they didn't include Osh, because I feel like Osh is like they have the population, like they have like the interest, so I don't know why.
I mean, there's a lot of strategic growth as well. Like if we were to look at what competitive really is at its core, which is partially for the passion of the community, but also because it's a great marketing initiative. These are some really strategic like markets, like Brazil, Latin America, just Asia in general. Like TFT is like growing a lot, especially with mobile release. So it is really important to service those markets accordingly and give them opportunity to grow, and give them that representation. So it's kind of like what Kurumx was saying. It's a good first step. Hopefully, like the next step might be the same, but by next year, hopefully they like really ramp it up.
Well, I think it depends on like how well it does. Like
I mean, because theoretically, if it gets amazing viewership and everything's great, they should be able to pull sponsors in on it, which allows them to increase production budget and like prize pool and all that stuff. But so I guess I would just say, if you like TFT esports and you want to succeed, watch this content, because that's what enables them to invest more into it, I'm sure.
I mean, I'm
just glad there's going to be a tournament with like a Riot like official tournament, like based around the best players, not just like the most popular players. So
and it is no Giant Slayer series. I will say that about the Galaxies Championship. It's not
nice transition.
It's not anything like the prestige and passion that you see for people duking it out in the Giant Slayer series. But this is something. It's nice to see Riot doing something, in comparison.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts on the esports stuff before we move into the Giant Slayer series? Because I feel like it's a good jumping off point. I don't think so. Okay, so let's move on to this. So Frodan, I'm going to toss you to you to take us through how things have been moving on the Giant Slayer series, as you're one of the casters.
So there's 2 things. Thank you, Travis. There's 2 things about Giant Slayers. One, it's pretty much the only really competitive thing happening right now online in the West. There's obviously things happening in the East, but in terms of this is like cream of the crop. Although I'm sure Some people would be picking at individual players. I would say I'm really happy with the quality of talent that we have. Kurum's currently sitting at 7th after a pretty interesting night last night. Kurum, you kind of had like high placing, low placing.
3-8-2-8, you know, like high, lows, lows, that kind of thing.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Frodan, but some of the points might be a little skewed, right, because of the schedule so far?
We had one night last Tuesday where servers went down, so we weren't even able to compete. So half of these people don't really get a second chance yet. So it's not like Milk is 4 times better than Daysig. I don't think that's the case here.
Well,
okay, so Kurum, how was your experience last night competing in the Giant Slayer?
Honestly, it was really good. Like I actually love this. I actually love this tournament. I actually love like the format, like the over 4 weeks kind of thing, and like I don't know, it gives like a lot of like leeway and like a lot of like for like low roll, like, you know, like you do like really shitty one time, but like you can come back next week and pop off, right? Like the first like 2 weeks, obviously, like I haven't done as well as I want to, so like, you know, maybe in the next 2 weeks I can like catch up, and it's like you just need to be in the top half, right? So it's like, you know, there's like a lot of leeway for like low rolling and shit like that in this kind of format, which is really, really good in my opinion.
What happened in terms of the first week to the second week? First week, you were kind of holding Milk's hand to the bottom.
Yeah, that was just like a big mistake. Holy shit! Like I should just like fuck off and let Milk have first, because like that's just like, honestly, if you don't have like a Bramble start, like you can't contest the fucking mech one trick. I mean, you can, but like it's not gonna feel good. I think if you get like a really high roll opener from mech, you can still contest them, but yeah, like that comp, it doesn't really support more than one player.
Mort's in chat. He does not approve.
Yeah, he's not happy with what you're saying.
I don't advise you to open the chat, Kurum, because it's obvious.
Wait, what is he not happy with?
All he just said was
he wants people to contest Milk.
Oh, contest Milk. No, I'm just kidding. You should fucking do that shit for sure. I don't know. Like, I feel like if no one contests Milk, it's just like he just gets a freebie, and it's like fucking lame as shit. But it's like, do you want to grief your own tournament? Like, I did it in the first week. I regret it. Like, I don't know.
You were the only one who tried.
I wish I didn't. I wish I fucking didn't. Like, but at the same time, it's like, you know, do you really want to give Milk a free pass? No, you fucking don't. Make him play the fucking game. Make him use his fucking brain. And he just sits above 50 gold and fucking presses D. Sits above 50 gold, presses D. The same comp every single game. Fuck off. Like, you know, like, I don't know. Like, I guess I really dislike the comp too, because like obviously last patch it was like the best comp in the game if you got it all. Like 8-star mech was basically not counterable. Probably is a lot more counterable now with the HP nerf, but 8-star mech last patch basically not counterable if it had good items. And honestly, hitting an 8-star mech when you're solo mech uncontested, like it's not even a high roll. It's kind of expected. It's
very common, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty easy. So
yeah, and I think the issue sometimes compounds on itself too, because there's other reroll comps that people want to play, so it naturally thins out the pool. If everyone's playing Syndra's and Nico's out of the pool, it's like, well, you're just going to hit Shaco and Rumble eventually. So I do understand what you're talking about. I do want to also ask one thing about the Giant Slayer series, is that yesterday we had a little bit of drama, I believe, going on. It was happening while I was casting, but I was not really aware. But there was like
I'm glad that you've decided to dive into this, because I feel the dirty secret of esports is that actually it is the scene drama that actually drives most of the engagement. So, you know, having this conversation, I don't want to say it will increase the prize pool for the next CES Championship Series, but maybe it will, because people will engage more, tune in, and get excited.
So as we were casting, Doe and I, yesterday night for the Giant Slayer series, thank you for that awesome tee up, Travis, by the way. We were told that Scott Timo, halfway through the tournament yesterday, gave up and decided to dedicate his time to griefing
kiting. Yeah, I heard about
the
that
entire time. So anytime he saw what kiting was doing, he was just trying to play the same exact comp and contested. And that's really tough because of what Kurum was saying, which is a lot of these reroll compositions do require like one player to play it at most. If two people do, they tend to both perform very poorly in the bottom floor. And then it also kind of compounded also by Scott saying that, you know, he hadn't played TFT in 8 days and that he was kind of, you know, devaluing the importance of the tournament. and just kind of just saying a bunch of stuff that really rubbed players the wrong way, and then kind of led to some of Kiting's viewers obviously not taking very kindly and just flaming him back, or maybe perhaps they were starting to flame Scott the Teemo, and there's like a he said she said type of dynamic that I'm not really sure because I didn't really get to watch Twitch in real time. But it started a lot of tension, and people were maybe even calling for Scott's head to be removed from the tournament.
It's really funny. It's honestly really funny because like, I don't know. Like the thing is, if someone contests your comp in a tournament, like they're not griefing you. They just like they probably had like direction for it. They probably had like a decent start for it, and it's like it probably makes the most sense to play this comp here. Like, just like I don't know. Like it can't just be like I'm playing this comp, and if you're lower health than me, and I'm playing this comp, and then you play this comp too, and you're in a worse spot than me, then you're griefing me. Like that can't be how this fucking game works. Like I don't know. Like that. There's not that many comps to fucking play. There's not that many comps in the game.
What about when it's a verbally spiteful and vindictive decision, or whatever? It's verbally decided.
When it's literally on purpose. When you like, okay, if he was looking at Kiting's bench and then picking the like going the comp, that's a whole nother thing. But I mean, I heard that after the tournament they talked and like apologies and all.
Apparently
that shit.
They talked it out. Yes.
Yeah, apparently they talked it out.
But in terms
of I didn't see it happen, so I don't even know like the context. I didn't see it happen because I was playing the tournament myself. But I mean, from what I heard, it was like Kiting was basically being a baby and saying that like this guy's going my comp when he's in a worse spot than me. What a griefer, blah blah blah. But it's like Scott probably just had direction for that comp, so like he probably want to just go the comp because he thought it was a good comp and he had direction for it. And then it probably turned into like Kiting saying, "Yo, fuck you, bro," and then Scott was like, "All right, well, actually, fuck this guy. I'm gonna just fucking do it maliciously now." I don't actually know if that's how it went down, but like that's kind of how
that sounds very probable.
Knowing Kiting, that's probably how it went down, and knowing Scott, that's probably how it went down too.
Oh my god, I bet that's exactly how it happened.
So
I'm kind of curious, just from a broader standpoint, like do either of you feel as though? Because I know Mort has already chimed in and been like, hey, just going after somebody else's comp, that's not an issue. But if it is something where you're like going to vindictively sabotage somebody else's chances in a tournament by like, I setting aside even what happened yesterday, but like going about this and very obviously doing it, is there any world in which there should be any action taken or is that just completely cool? Anybody could get away with that and it should be fine.
I think if it's like, I mean, you can't control how people play the game, right?
Yeah.
Nor should you be able to.
I don't know. Like, if someone's like maliciously doing it just because they hate your guts, that's like really fucked up.
It is, but that stuff has always kind of existed in almost every single game genre. Like fighting games, people sometimes develop like one character to specifically try to target another player because they like don't like them. They want to do certain things to embarrass them on stream. It's like that kind of stuff happens. It's not really against the rules. Is it poor form? Probably, yeah. And doesn't really honor like what you're trying to do as a competitor, but it's not against the rules. What I take issue with is kind of him dumping on the hard work of all the people that organize the tournament and like other people who also want to compete in his place. So like, if he wants to develop rivalry with Kiting in a bitter fashion and be like mortal enemies, that's be my guest. But come on, man, there's like so many people that put effort and time and blood, sweat, and tears during a time of crisis.
I mean, honestly, no matter what Kiting said, like if Scott was actually like maliciously griefing Kiting in any way, I think it's fucked up, and I think it's like a scumbag thing to do. So, I mean, just like ruins the competitive integrity of the entire game. Like all of a sudden, you have these players that are like crippled, and like when they shouldn't be, right? So if it is a competitive integrity issue, and I know we want to do the tier list and move on to something more lighthearted, but this is, I mean, as we're seeing sort of the dawn of the game as an esport and Riot's announcing all this big stuff. Like, it is just an interesting philosophical question for me, right? Like, if you think that this is the type of thing that can ruin the competitive integrity, and I do think it goes a little further than just like trying to learn a character in a fighting game so that you can target somebody, because you are able to like drag someone else down, and let the other competitors go up.
I'm curious if this could become a bigger issue that would need to be addressed at some point in time, or if it's just always going to be.
I really don't think so. Honestly, like TFT is such like it's honestly like a really good community. Like there's gonna be a few bad apples, but like the high-elo TFT community is like really tight knit from what I've seen, and like everyone kind of just likes each other.
A little bit too tight knit sometimes. They're a little weird with each other.
Yeah, a little weird.
If I were to just call it out like it is, some of them are a little bit too chummy.
Everyone I've
we'll see how tight knit everything gets whenever there's like a global tournament with $200,000 on the line.
I mean, the problem is when like people like start writing like fan fictions of like people in the top 10, like saying that like they're like doing things like with like latex suits and stuff. Like that's when it becomes like too much, right? But like I honestly,
it's like a good time to move on. No, finish your thought.
Oh no, just in general, like everyone I've met in high-elo TFT has been like really fucking cool, and yeah, like I haven't really met Scott personally, but like doing something like that and like talking trash about the tournament, and like Giant Slayer's like the only one like doing anything for like competitive esports or competitive TFT esports, like I don't know. And I really like the format of the tourney. Really respect like what they're doing. Like I don't know, taking it for granted like that, it's pretty rude. I don't like it.
Yeah.
And then like the whole kiting issue, that's a whole other thing.
Thanks for saying all that those nice things about Giant Slayer on a Giant Slayer show on the Giant Slayer.
Yeah, but I'm not getting paid for this.
I know.
This is not hashtag ad. Like, this is actually just my thoughts. So
yeah. Well, on to more exciting and easy things. I guess the last thing we have on this list before we get into the tier list, unless I'm missing anything for them, is the donkey roll practice tool. Do you want to take a look at? Did we take a look at that? Do you think?
Someone mentioned that in my chat, and I kind of just like brushed them off. Like I think the dev mentioned it in my chat, and I kind of just like brushed it off. But like then I went to it after the stream, and I was like, oh shit, this is actually really cool.
This tool is legit. This tool is
fucking sick. Like
I actually wanted to do challenges with our guests, like to see like how long it takes for them to roll down and do stuff, and see their kind of like time them and have records, so to speak. But we don't have the tech there set up yet. So eventually, Kurum, if you get to come back on the show, we'll do some roll down drills and see what you can do.
Anything in particular you guys really like about this, or in your use of it?
I think it's just really good to practice muscle memory of what you're looking for when you're rolling down. I think that's one of the things that people probably undervalue. They look at a streamer and they just like think they can replicate the certain composition, but it does take recognition of what you're doing.
Your brain and your eye, like playing the game in the moment, like like seeing the units when you're watching, putting in zero actions at all when you're watching on Twitch is really fucking easy. Like compared to like actually just like playing the comp and having to do the actions yourself and like being able to like recognize it with your eyes and your brain. Like it becomes like second nature once you play like 20 times. So I think like
saying that having hundreds of people watching something, it's easier for that group of people to identify something than a single person in the heat of the moment.
I mean, even just in general, just like a specific individual in general, it's like a lot easier watching. At least I don't know. For me, it is like watching. Yeah. It's like you'll never miss a single unit. Like when you're watching, like it's really easy to tell. But compared to like when you're doing it. Compared to like when you're actually the one doing it, and it's like you're like actually inputting the actions and you're actually looking for the units, like I don't know, it's like something like with your brain and your eyes, like comps that you play more often. Like I remember like near the end of like set 2, like when I rolled down, when I was like hype rolling Preds, I could do like 40 gold in like fucking 10 seconds or some shit like that, like it was really, really easy. Yeah. But like when I was hyper rolling Preds at the start of set 2, it was like fucking impossible. I would go like I'd press D and I was like, is that a unit? No, that's not. No, I don't need it. And then I press D and I was like, is there anything there? No, there's nothing here. And then I press D and I realized there was something there. Fuck, like it's like I don't know, like
and then chat's making it up. They're like, you missed this, and you're questioning everything.
Yeah, I think that tool is pretty cool though, because like if there's a comp that's like meta and you've never played it before, you can just practice roll downs.
Well, shout out to Edswoo, I believe is their name, is the person who posted it on Reddit for making that tool, because it's pretty cool.
He did a lot of small things too to try to replicate like the UI and how it feels. Like it shows the window as you drag the chair.
It makes the sounds. It's so satisfying.
Exactly. He tried really hard to make it exactly the same as it is in TFT.
Tier list, Frodan?
Yes,
I mean,
let's wrap it up with the tier
not
list. I
on
know we're a
time,
little
but-
bit behind, but Kurumx is really fun to talk to. So kind of got carried away.
Yeah, no. I mean, I don't blame you, but let's see. I like this though because it puts added pressure on him to get.
Oh
down
shit, we're
into
making
a-
Oh,
it
yeah,
on the
yeah.
list? Okay.
Did you
What do
see
we
this
do?
last time, Krum?
No, I didn't watch. I didn't
All
watch yet.
Well,
It's okay,
that
so-
spells your doom because you would have had an advantage.
Okay.
had you
So
watched it.
how like something like Blade Master, like so you just rank it? Like you're just like
Yeah, Frodan, you want to explain the rules? This is your game, so
We're just essentially going to go down the list alphabetically and just place them in S to D tier of where you feel like they are in terms of their overall power level. I know that it changes, right? Like Space Pirates, for example, is
based on like comps, right? Because it's like KO
Yeah.
is obviously a really good unit,
exactly.
and she's like the main carry in Chrono Blade Master. But like
Blade
you
Masters
know,
itself is not.
Blade Masters themselves are not that good.
Right. So that's exactly, you have to weigh that. And this is your tier list, so you can frame it however you want. And you can explain it however you feel.
Okay.
but we do have to move quickly. So let's get into it. Starting with Blade Master.
Okay. A for sure. Actually,
Okay.
especially
Solid.
after the Zaya buff.
Ooh, yeah, Zaya's really nice.
Blaster.
Blasters.
Oh, blasters. Fucking B. B.
B for Blaster.
Yeah.
Brawler.
Brawler. B. Yeah.
You're already way more assertive and definitive about this than Milk and Becca
Celestial.
were. They were struggling.
Celestial's like really niche. But Cassidy's a really good unit in every single comp, honestly.
Yeah. Is that
Darkstar's
because of
pretty
the
meta.
Celestial, or is it-
Darkstar's pretty meta as well, and Kale uses it well as well. So let's go A.
Okay.
Chrono.
I agree with that.
Chrono. Late game, it's only used by one comp in the game. Probably B. The units themselves are really good early game though. Probably B
Cybernetic.
still. Really flexible. Fast 8. You can flex 3, you can flex 6. I think 6 Cyber is pretty much the same thing as last patch, to be honest. Like, falls off late game compared to the reroll comps, but still a viable option for sure. I'd put it in A.
Dark Star. Everything's been A and B so far, by the way. I just want to let you know there's also an
Yeah, I
S,
mean,
C,
Okay.
and
that's
We
D.
have
seems
a
like-
lot of synergies.
S is like, this shit is OP. You know?
Yeah, I know. I'm just teasing.
Right.
Darkstar is like a comp that's like flexible, has like multiple carries. You can stack Mord, you can stack Lux if you got Rods and Tears. You kind of need like Lux 3 though if you want to do like carry. Obviously, Jin and Shake are the main carries, and Xerath just got added for like a free Stork buff. I don't know how good he is as a carry. I would put it like A. If there was like a tier between A and S, I would do that, but I wouldn't make it S.
Plus.
Yeah, A plus.
Ooh.
Demolition.
Demolition. First week of fucking TFT, this shit was SSS. Now, what are they? Ziggs, GP, and what?
Rumble.
I mean, it's S and mech. Like overall, though, like fucking C. Yeah,
We
like
got our
overall,
first
if I had to
C,
rate it.
our first on AB.
Interesting.
Infiltrator.
I mean, Ziggs and GP are just bad. Like they're just bad units. Infiltrator's fucking ass.
E.
S.
That shit's ass. Yeah. Like, I mean, it's only one comp, but like the comp is so fucking strong. And then like making units in Infiltrator is also really strong, especially in like Darkstar or maybe even like Cybernetics, right? So like it's pretty like flexible. I think S Infiltrator
Cool.
Mana Reaver.
really strong. Cassian's a really good unit. Aurelia is obviously one of the main carries. What's the other Mana Reaver?
Kassadin
Thresh?
and Thresh. And Darius.
Mana Reaver is honestly really OP. I put it in S.
Ooh.
Nice.
All right.
Mercenary.
Merc. GP and MF, right?
Yep.
This shit's honestly pretty trash. Like MF is one of those units that pops the fuck off sometimes and actually 1v9s. She's also one of those units that fucking does nothing sometimes.
Isn't it dependent on the upgrades though? Like upgrades.
It is dependent on the upgrades, but like even with the upgrades, like I feel like she can get cucked by like Echo or like infiltrators in general, like or she could just like fucking whiff. She also like really needs like items, right? But then like a lot of times late game, you can't really like itemize a 1-star MF if you don't want to lose every single round. And by the time you have 2-star MF, your items are other places anyway. I would put Merc in B tier.
Okay.
Mystic.
Well, Lulu is a really good unit. The buff itself doesn't really do that much. It's not super noticeable.
Even with all the Star Guardians running
Yeah,
around?
even with all the Star Guardians, it's really not noticeable at all.
Interesting.
Like
I
the
guess
thing
'cause
is, like
Syndra's
if they're
one-shot.
itemized well, Mystic, you don't even notice the difference if they're itemized correctly. Like Syndra 3 with like Seraph's Death Cap, it
Right.
doesn't give a fuck. Like the second ulti is gonna kill, like almost always, and every ulti after that is gonna kill. Through Mystic. I would put Mystic in A tier though, because I think all the units themselves are actually good and they're actually playable. Soraka just got another buff as well. Like Soraka was like the worst one, right? But she just got another buff. Like she got buffed last patch too. So I mean, I think all the Mystics themselves are very playable, and the buff it's like not bad.
Protector.
This shit's trash.
D tier.
Like Darkstar was like the worst matchup, and it actually just got way stronger on this patch. This shit's D tier.
Oof.
First D tier.
Like you can get away with it with perfect items. You need Bramble, Declaw, Titan Resolve, Zinzao, and you need Shojin, Morello, Rakan, and you need 3 stars, like all 3 stars, which isn't that hard to get of all being uncontested, but you kind of need the like RNG perfect items from both Carousel and Creep Round, so yeah.
Rebel.
Rebels are better this patch. Soul just got a fat buff. Jinx just got a pretty big buff as well.
Yes.
I don't know. I actually don't know. I'll put a B tier for now. But who knows? Like
Sniper.
maybe in a week this shit will be OP. You know, like no one really knows right now.
Exactly.
Last patch was C tier for sure, so I'll just move it up a tier. Sniper's fucking strong. Kate's like one of the best early game units. Not one of the best, but like she's got a big buff and she's like pretty nice to play because her tags are good. She can also lead you really well. Like Ashe is like she can lead you really well into Dark Stars, right? Like she can hold items for you. She can just give you like a sniper chrono buff like mid game. Ashe is also like fuck me called. Fuck. Oh. Never mind. Yeah, Ashe is also like one of the strongest early game units. Like even just like a naked Ashe is actually really strong. So I would put Sniper in A tier for sure.
Almost done. Sorcerer.
Sork. They just buffed 4 Sork as well. Sork is S. Yeah. It's like it's one of the strongest comp right now. 6 Star Guardian, 4 Sork was already like probably the strongest, second strongest comp on last patch when itemized correctly and uncontested. And I mean, like if you hit everything for Sork Star Guardian right now, like it's gonna be like unbeatable. So
should we throw in Star Guardian in S as well?
Yeah.
Boom.
For sure.
Space Pirate.
D. This shit is like you make money as long as you can with Graves and Jace. You never go 4 unless you're like playing for fun, basically. But yeah, I don't know. You could put it in C just for early game, honestly, because like Space Pirates are like what you want early game. You can honestly put it in C, literally just because like Graves 2 and Jace are such good units, and Darius just got another buff. But like it has no late game potential, and you're always transitioning out, so that's why I rate it lowly.
Starship.
Why the fuck is this like a synergy? it's just the fucking unit.
We have to do all of them.
You're asking me how good is A Soul? He did just get a fat buff. Put him in the Rebel tier. Put him in B.
B?
Interesting.
He just goes along with Rebels. Wherever Rebels goes,
yeah, that's fair.
Fair enough.
That's actually a really good point. Valkyrie,
one of the strongest synergies. There's so much value in the synergy, especially when you're running like kill carry. Even on MF, it's very, very noticeable. 3-star Kaisa, very, very noticeable. Even 2-star Kaisa, I'd put it in S tier. It fits into some of the strongest comps in the game.
Vanguard.
Really strong early mid. Falls off late game, especially when you're trying to run 4.
Yep.
Unless you have like Jace 3, because if you have like a big Jace 3, he can actually be one of your main carries late game. So I'd put it A tier for sure.
Yeah, agreed.
Void.
This shit fits in one comp. Honestly, the comp was like really, really bad last patch, and it definitely got a lot better with this patch. It's also kind of weird because this is a comp that will be really bad if 2 people are playing it, even though it's like a fast A comp because your win con is 3 stars. Because you're gonna get so weak late game if you only have 2 stars.
Yeah.
Like relying on a 3-star forecast of like any kind, it already kind of feels like a high roll. The thing is, like, if you're uncontested, usually you're strong enough with just like a Vel'Koz 2, Cho 2, and that's like really easy to get. So that's why you can usually eco well enough to get Cho 3, Vel'Koz 3, because you're like strong enough for a while to eco. I would put it in A tier after the nerfs or the buffs to Vel'Koz, because the buffs seem pretty substantial.
The last one out of order for our alphabet. Mech.
This shit is SSSSS. It's fucking S.
There we go.
That shit's S tier. It's too fucking strong. They actually buffed. They actually buffed the fucking 1-star mech. Like, I was playing some mech, and it's like before, if you're playing like 1-star Annie, 1-star Fizz, 1-star Rumble, that shit is never ulting. Like, no matter what. Now, after the buffs to like early game mech, it almost always ulties. Which is pretty crazy, like, honestly.
This looks like a pretty balanced patch based off of your viewpoint. Like, I'm seeing most things are split around S, A, and B with only a couple things near the bottom. I mean, it feels like there's a lot of different synergies that you can play.
Yeah. I only put the only one I put in D tier was Protector, huh?
Yeah.
I didn't even.
Do you want to make any
that.
last-minute revisions now that you see it all?
Nah, dude. Like, is Protector really worth playing? Fuck no. Like, it's actually gonna get one tapped by fucking Jin or Shaco. I don't care. I don't give a fuck what you have on your fucking. Like, if Jin or Shaco has Last Whisper and either of them like 4th shots or ultis, the Zinzao is literally fucking insta exploded. So, yeah.
Well, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show with me and Frodan. I think this might, more than any other piece of content I've ever made, have the most profanity in a single block.
Oh shit! My bad.
No, it's just funny. It was great because you asked ahead of time. You're like, could I cuss? And I think, our producer said, yeah, it's fine. And I don't know if she knew what we were getting ourselves into.
Right. Yeah, my fault.
No, it's good. Hey, do you want to shout out anything? Where can people find you?
You can watch me live every single night at twitch.tv/Kurumx.
Are you streaming right after this?
Yeah, I'll be live in like.
Host you
I'll be live in like 10-15. I gotta take a sec.
Oh wait, I think they're doing fight night tonight, so they.
Okay. Well, that works out because I'm live in like 15 minutes.
Okay.
Well, Frodan, how about you? Any shout outs, plugs?
No, just make sure to tune into Giant Slayer series next Monday and Tuesday, where we can watch Kurum get first 8th again.
Hell yeah, 1-8. You already fucking know.
1-8.
Actually, I can't even go 1. If Milk's in my fucking lobby, I can't go 1. So
yeah, I would
2-7, 27.
Hopefully Milk's not in my fucking lobby again.
Everybody.
Oh, Travis is gone. Shit.
Travis, sign back on so we can sign off.
I almost made it all the way through the end here. But I would just echo that. Go follow Giant Slayer TFT on Twitter. Follow the channel. If you're watching right now, please follow the channel. Because this is Giant Slayer, it's not like a Travis Gafford Industries. It's not this giant esports mega conglomerate of media stuff. These are passionate, dedicated people trying to build amazing team fight tactics content for you guys and some other stuff too. I think I've seen some Valorant tweets. So follow them here, go subscribe on YouTube and support everything that they're doing because that supports TFT Esports. For everyone else, thanks for watching. This has been Teamfight Talk Show episode 3.